Welcome to Redvee TV, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2020 season. We can say it again because it is going to happen, Kevin.
It is back. Not just yet, but it is coming back.
The announcement that we will be back at the start of August, starting off with a game against Catalans at a venue yet to be announced, probably Headingley, and a 15-game season. Playoff semi-finals, grand final. It's looking a little bit rosy. I wonder if the 6 games at the start count.
Yes, it's 22 round.
Okay.
22 round season, I think it is.
Looking forward to it. Need some rugby in the
Yeah,
back.
absolutely. Can't wait for it back. That's it. Obviously, we're locked down on a Friday night. I've been watching a gig. A Liverpool singer-songwriter called Ian Prowse every Friday night. He's not going to be doing very much more of them, so I need rugby fix. Need to be able to watch something.
That said, the games are going to get back underway. We assume without crowds, or, well, knowing this government, the social distancing will probably be gone completely by then. But yeah, we assume no crowds to begin with. There is a hope that we might get back in later in the season, but it's going to be TV watching for the majority. Yeah,
that's it. It's going to be, you wonder what kind of agreements they'll come to. Like the football, it'd be good if we could get a game or two on terrestrial, even if it's just 1 or 2. But yeah, it's probably going to be the Sky deal, isn't it? And there's us seeing games possibly spread out a little bit more like we've had the football. Who knows?
Now, following Mike Rush's message the other week to fans, a little bit of an update, the club have sent out a survey yesterday regarding people's season tickets that they've paid for 2020. 3 options in the consultation, nothing's binding at the moment. Option A was to donate your money to the club. Option B was to get credits for your season ticket, which would be spread over the next 3 years. And option C, for those who need it, would be a full refund as expected. I think I want to say at the start of this video, if people's financial circumstances have changed over the last few months due to COVID, due to coronavirus, personal circumstances, people's jobs may have gone, people have been on reduced money. If fans need their money back because they just need it, that is option C, and that is what they will take, and that is 100% fine, absolutely entitled. Yeah. It's their money that they've spent on a product, and they are entitled to it. And I think at that point, that's the end of the discussion on that one.
I do agree with that. It doesn't make them any less of a fan if their circumstances dictate that they need the money. At the end of the day,
they wouldn't be criticised.
No, not at all. Putting food on the table, paying your electricity bill, paying a phone bill, whatever they need it for, if they need it even, because it'll be further down the line, obviously, when we know what games we can get into, if there are any. They might need it for Christmas. Listen, that's it. There should be no stigma attached to that. If people need it, it doesn't. This isn't about being a super fan. This is about what is right for you and then the club.
And you know what? There is no stigma attached anyway, because it's entirely personal, entirely anonymous. Yep. You don't need to tell anybody what your circumstances are and what you've done. I think we've done enough work supporting Teardrops and their work and promoting what they do over the last couple of years to know that there is poverty in this town and people will not be judged. And that's the line drawn under that. But the next part of the conversation is for fans who haven't suffered financial detriment or are able to stomach the difference. The club have put out a message, a very strong, powerful message, asking fans to donate the money where they possibly can, because at the end of the day, the survival of the club could depend on it. Now, I've seen a few fans, Kev, saying, well, they're trying to pull at me emotionally. and trying to play on people's feelings. I don't see it that way. I think, for me, fans have always wanted the club to communicate, and they want the truth, and they don't want things sugarcoating. So I think this is an opportunity where the club have come along and gone, this is the circumstances. If we suffer such a huge financial loss, it could affect the future and the future prospects of the club.
Yeah, I think it's a factual statement. Whether people think it's emotional, that's for them to read it. But I read it as a factual statement. Take it back to base levels. The game of rugby league isn't the biggest in this country. It's not cash rich. Most clubs will be running from month to month to month. You'll get a couple who are in better situations. But, well, if you're given the facts by the club, then that's what you should then base any decision on. And as you say, we're taking away from people who need a refund because the circumstances dictate that. So it's those people who are finding themselves in the situation, such as myself, who can turn around and can stand to kind of pay my season ticket as money that I'm expecting to go out. I've suffered no change in circumstance. And that's it. Getting facts from the club. Well, I mean, when people are voting on this, and I know it's only a consultation, but with all the facts in front of you, I mean, this country would be in a better state if we voted with the facts in front of us. And but this is as much a throwaway line as that is. This is what people want. People want honesty. People want openness, and it's tough to read. It's tough to read that the club would be in, I forget the correct wording of it, but in a precarious financial position. It is a tough read, and you can only do what's right. Again, option C is this isn't about you. It's those contemplating between A and B. And even those in a position such as myself who are contemplating option C. You've got all the facts in front of you.
Yeah. This is the conversation for people who are considering options B and C who don't actually need the money, because there will be a lot of people who it's money they'll see it as money spent. They will probably still get to see the games, albeit not inside the stadium. They'll still get to see the streams, which hopefully the club will provide. At the end of the day, if the club allowed fans back into the stadium tomorrow, it's not money that would come back to them anyway. So you can't be relying on the money essentially coming back to you, because it's a bit of a bonus. But I think the club needed to be honest. And I think the reason they need to be honest, in my opinion, is because people see Saints as one of the best teams in the game and the top clubs in the game, and they think, oh no, it's bluff and bluster, it can't happen to us. Well, you look at something like Into, who run the Trafford Centre and the Arndale Centre and all of the shopping centres around the country. Look at what's happened to their business. They've gone into administration. It can happen to anyone. It happens to Woolworths. It happens to British Home Stores. There is nothing special about rugby league that means we will not be in financial trouble. And I think the point I was trying to make last night was, as a club, we've essentially been reliant on a couple of benevolent benefactors who have took money out of their own pockets and their own personal fortunes year after year to stomach losses when we've had them as a club, to fund a stadium, to fund a team, to ensure that we spend the salary cap year in, year out. Now, if at this time that survey comes back and thousands of fans decide that they just want the money back because they're not going to give the club the money, they could end up having to stomach, if they wish to, £500,000 or £1 million difference in finance. How often are they willing to keep doing that if they see that the supporters of the club don't want to share the burden? And I think that's why I said last night that when fans can support, if they can support, when they can support, because they can do, that's what they should look to do if they want this club to continue in the same format in the future.
Yeah, that's it. As you say, it's a tough one because people just see well, we all just see kind of the outside of it. We don't really see the inner workings. I know we've had conversations with people inside the club and chatted to them, but we never you never delve into the fact that, say, Eamon McManus puts his hand in his pocket and goes out and buys a player. You don't really delve into the fact that someone is actually using their money to prop it up. And yeah, there's not really much more I can add to what you've said, because you're right. We've been very, very lucky. I think you can't kind of get your club ready for such an event as this pandemic that's gone on. I think clubs will try to in the future, but it won't always be possible.
Yeah.
Because, as I say, rugby league isn't a cash-rich sport. It's not something that is getting... You've not got broadcasters falling over themselves to offer big money to show us on telly even. And we think it's the best sport in the world. So we are struggling, and that's why Saints, where people can, Saints need the help now.
And I think the difference is, I think 1,000 season ticket holders all wanting £200 back. That essentially is £200,000. That is 2 top players' contracts. Now, at the end of the day, if they've lost, say, just £200,000, that's £200,000 of savings they've got to find, and that could potentially come off the playing budget. Yeah. And when fans next season potentially see other clubs with star signings and then look at our squad and think, well, why didn't we go for him? Well, that might be the reason why. And that is the stark reality. And I don't think that is not emotional. That's economics, and that's fact. The money's got to come from somewhere. It doesn't just grow on trees. I think the club have done really well over the last 2-3 years to reach to the point where it's self-sufficient. And that's because of the money that's been pumped into maintaining the stadium, the off-the-field business. But again, because of COVID, that's all gone at the moment. So it's a real struggle. I found it quite... I laughed when I read it, to be honest, when somebody was saying, has Eamon taken a wage cut during this? Eamon won't take a wage from the club. He's not an employee. He's the owner. He keeps the place going. But all the staff who do work for the club have taken a 20% pay cut, and they've shared the burden of it. So for me, if fans can afford to help, hopefully they will. I did see non-season ticket holders wondering how they can contribute, and some suggested a Just Give an account. I don't think the club will go down that road, because that looks like the end, doesn't it, when clubs start doing that? I think if you've got money and you want to invest in the club, go and spend it in the club shop.
Well, you've got the memberships, haven't you? You've got the game memberships as well.
Saints TV.
Yeah, you've got Saints TV. That's it. It's interesting you're saying about the off the field activities. We're filming this Saturday afternoon. Little Mix should be on at the stadium now.
Yeah.
So you miss out on...
I was having a nice day off on my own.
Yeah, I thought I was having a nice quiet day as well. Keep having chips and a couple of cans tonight on my own, laughing. But yeah, you miss out on that payday, and you miss out on... You see the British Gas fans outside when they've got a conference there, and you think, well, somebody's hiring it out. You see them advertising for weddings, party nights, New Year's Eve, Christmas stuff.
And it's been the sign of a well-run business. But you don't budget for a pandemic closing the game down. And maybe the clubs will in the future. Maybe everybody will put 10% on everything and save the money for a rainy day in a savings account. Unfortunately, it's a game that has essentially been living hand to mouth, isn't it? Yes, we're taking a £250,000 loss this season from Sky Sports on TV revenue. The TV revenue deal at the end of 2021 is probably not going to be as much. There is a government fund, but it's a loan. So if you spend that money, it's still got to be paid back.
That's it. And we don't know what the repayment terms of that loan is. I did read something that it wasn't. It was a good deal for rugby league, but there were no actual hard facts with it. I'm sure someone will have seen a little bit more, but that's it. You've still got to pay it back. You've still got to find that money from somewhere. And if we've got a shortfall in Sky revenue and a shortfall in people just going into the ground and impulse buying at the shop, or having a couple of pints and a pie or whatever at the ground. It all starts, as you say, chipping away. Having a full away end of Wigan fans, of Warrington fans, you start losing out on everything like that. And that's it. It's a proper tough time for the game, not just Saints, but this is where if Saints fans, and I think that's the thing that we keep saying, if you're in the position to, option one, option A, if you're in the position to, is the best option.
Now, the club have been saying about what they may be able to offer as incentives for those fans who are able to leave the money in the club. I've seen Leeds come up with some offerings. I know they suggested they were going to potentially offer hospitality to fans for a game of their choice next season. I'm not entirely sure how doable that would be for Saints. Obviously, we hospitality, and that is a big, again, revenue generator for the club. And again, if a few thousand people leave the money in the club, that's not going to be doable. How about the idea of things like T-shirts or pin badges, special edition shirts, for those who can support? Have you had any ideas or thoughts yourself?
I've not. I mean, my issue kind of with a shirt I saw the one with the shirt with the name on the inside or something like that. I think that is a better idea, rather than something saying like the people who leave the money in have all the names put on a shirt in a Redvee or whatever, because that's almost showing this is what I did and this is what you didn't do. And that, I think you need to be a little bit more subtle.
Maybe a commemorative memento that people can keep at home then. Commemorative pen or.
If you just look round the room for the first thing you could see when you thought of a pen or a lamp or a phone.
A smelly candle.
I've no problem with. I don't know. Like they might turn around at the end of the season and say, "Listen, there's a bit of kit. There's and it might be stuff that they haven't sold, but you know what? There's the training shirts for free. We're just going to get in touch with you and what do you want? You get 50 quid. You get
1,000 pieces.
Yeah, but you get 50 quid to spend in the club shop, or there's something like competitions. And I know, again, that kind of goes against what I've just said when they're going to identify winners, but it's not going to identify everybody. So if they have competitions, so you can win corporate, or I don't know, like you get a meet and greet with the players. You I don't know, get time. I'm sure some of the players wouldn't mind if the right fans are vetted to going for a coffee with someone, going for a bit of an informal chat.
No, Russ.
No, not us. We've not.
Listen, I was thinking. Listen, I'd love Saints to be looking now to do the cardboard cutouts for the games, because it's a money earner. It's £25 a cutout. With the size of mine in your heads, there's 4 straight away.
The poor ones behind us won't be able to see. It just feels too clipped. I put that out on Twitter if people would, and the vast majority came back.
I'd have one in every corner.
I think they're called floodlights, aren't they? But stuff like that would be good. I think we mentioned it before. Your virtual pies, your virtual pints, stuff that it might cost a little bit to set up, but it'll be somebody's wage to kind of set it up on the website. Or, well, it's a shame Saints don't have an app that you can just order. Well, you could order your seat. They did run that at one spell, but you can just order, and you can order a pint. And listen, however much a pint is, £3.60, £4, whatever it is, just goes into the club's coffers. It's not a great deal for one person. For most people, it won't be a great deal. But it's £4 that goes in. I know it's not a lot, but all of a sudden you get 100 people putting £4 in, £400 that the club's not going to find.
2 season tickets.
2 season tickets. It's I don't know. It's stuff like that. Your virtual stuff, your cardboard cutouts. Just kind of thinking, not outside the box. Have a look at what other teams have done. Have a look at what other sports have done. and look at what you can actually sell, really.
There you go. Your cardboard cutout returned to you at the end of the season, signed by the full grand final winning playing squad of 2020, and hopefully that will be us.
I was going to say, I don't want that. I don't want that if it's like Wigan or Leeds.
and then again, you could have a draw for some of them cardboard cutouts will be returned with player jerseys being worn on them.
You know what? Something like that. Something that you can, that the club has either already bought or doesn't have to buy again. I think that's where they should look. The least
some of them 2012 jerseys that keep appearing in the summer sale.
But you know what? Just get them signed. You've got club legends who are working behind the scenes. So if you've got stuff like, you've got Paul Schoolthorpe knocking about, you've got Paul Wellens knocking about, you've got Tommy Martin knocking about, get memorabilia signed that you've already got that you don't mind kind of getting rid of, auctioning off. People will support the club, and people will support the club in other ways. People might want a tangible benefit of supporting. As I say, I'm not necessarily keen on advertising, say, myself as an option one and whoever, Joe Blogs as option C, and they've not done anything or whatever. I'm not really keen on that. But if you're going to give an incentive, don't recognise everybody as such, but put our names into a hat to win something, or to, as you say, with the cardboard cutouts, right, you're going to win a player's jersey. This is what we're going to do. You're going to win a warm-up jacket. You're going to win. You come down to the Redvee Cafe Bar and you have lunch, or when they're training, you come and have lunch with the players.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that that's kind of behind it. You could still market it, but you're not going to have, hopefully, like 5,000-6,000 people who all win lunch with Saints, so it just goes on for years and years and years. And it's just one person, and people will like seeing it. People will feel like it's a competition that they want to kind of get behind.
Two things. One, for adult season ticket holders, there should be a draw every week for an adult mascot to walk out at the front holding James Roby's hand in full kit. And B, Kev, you are never an option. You're the only choice for anyone.
Thanks, David. But yeah, well, you know what? If they want to do that as one of the prizes, something, whether it be silly prizes, whether it be really good prizes, a little bit of a mix of each, but there's a good range of prizes that isn't going to cost the club a lot. It might cost them a couple of quid because they've already got, like, they could turn around and dish out 10 signed jerseys. You can either choose home or away. You can have it signed. You don't have to have it signed, but there's a load of prizes. Listen,
we could sell 200 tickets for a raffle to join us on Redvee TV. £5 a ticket. There's 1,000 quid from 200 tickets sold. Kev Cunningham will have bought the lot, and we'll still find a way of rigging it so he doesn't come on.
I'd love to say that's a great idea, but I don't think anybody wants to come and chat to us.
Kev Cunningham, 200 tickets sold, £1,000. I've set up the direct debit for him. Done.
Poor Kev.
Poor Kev.
We'll have to get him on.
Yeah.
I'm missing his enthusiasm for the rugby.
Yeah. Right. He did keep watching the other week until the end as well. Right. Yeah. We took the neck off. Right. So again, we'll end it by saying, if option C, you are financially needing that money back, take the money. That is not even up for debate or criticism, and it's a completely private choice.
Yeah, and if you start giving people grief for taking the money back because they're in that financial position, trying to make yourself be a super fan, just don't do it. Just think about what you're saying to people. It's not about who is the best fan. This is about.
And you know what? I've never seen anybody actually claiming to be a better fan if they're leaving the money in. It's because you can, and because you want to support the club, and you want to make sure it's there for the whole town, the whole community, for those less able than yourself.
Yeah.
Right. I think we've done long enough on this one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you soon for another episode of Redvee TV. See you later, Kev.
See you, Dave.